listening. I am your host, Data T, and this is my channel, The Good Guys. Guys, today's story comes out from the Trace, and we'll once again we'll be covering Jennifer Macia from the Trace. Okay, but I think this one's going to be a little bit different twist. Okay, but I am going to read the title. I'm going to read the article in its entirety. Okay, and the story and the title reads: How often are AR style rifles used for self-defense? In my opinion, it doesn't matter, but let us dive down this hole. Let us see if there are people using their firearms, their rifles, in self-defense, which I believe and I know that they do. So before we get into this, guys, okay, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Remember, we are on that road to 1,000 subscribers. Okay, and I know we can get there with your help. And then feel free, also hit me on Minds, hit me on Twitter, hit me on TruthSocial and various other platforms, TikTok and Instagram. I'm there too, even Rumble. Okay, so let us begin. Now it says here, how often are AR style rifles used for self-defense? Supporters of AR-15s, often used in mass shootings and racist attacks, say they're important for self-defense. Our analysis of gun violence archive data suggests otherwise. Guys, I will tell you, okay, in the mass shooting world, handguns are used far more than rifles. Okay, and all we got to do, okay, is go to the crime research, okay, and they will tell us, okay, that this is the case. Okay, if you are looking for information, okay, about guns, come to this site, guys. Okay, come here, come and check it out. It is a fantastic site. It talks about everything that you need to know in terms about guns and assault weapons and all that jazz, and they got all the statistics here. Okay, and if I were to look, okay, let's say AR-15, right, and we put that in the search bar and it comes out as results. Okay, and it'll give us a whole bunch of information here, and one of them is here. Check this out. It says gun control myths, the lie that AR-15s are the weapon of choice for mass public shooters. It's not the case, guys. Okay, and there's data to back it up. It's here. Okay, you can download this data. It's there. And if we look at this percentage here, murders with only handguns, it's more than half. Murders with rifles, 11%. Murders with shotguns, 4%. Handgun and rifle, 12%. Handgun and shotgun, 10%. Rifle and shotgun, 3%. And then it says all three types of the weapons used, 4%. The vast majority of murders, shootings, mass shootings, which this says from 1998 to 2021, are done with handguns. Full stop. Okay, let us understand this. Okay, so let us go back to the article, and when they say often is a false, okay, ma'am, please stop. Anyway, let us dive in to the bulk of this story. It says here, on August 26, an avowed white supremacist opened fire in a Dollar General in a black neighborhood in Jacksonville, Florida, killing 3 people, as in many high-profile racist shootings in recent years, including Buffalo, El Paso, Pittsburgh. The assailant used an assault-style rifle. Now, folks, I'm going to tell you something. I don't believe in the claim assault rifle. It doesn't make any sense. Us gun owners, we don't use that. Okay? Anyway, it says here, hours after the Jacksonville story broke, the National Rifle Association tweeted that millions of law-abiding citizens own and use AR-15s to defend themselves and their family. It's true that more gun owners are buying AR-style rifles for protection. Okay, in March, the Washington Post estimated that 16 million Americans owned AR-15 and asked 400 of them why. The most common sense reason given: self-defense. If it was me, I would have said freedom. Other gun owners say AR-style rifles are practical for self-defense. Aren't practical, which is bullshit, okay? Including former Washington, D.C. police officer Michael Fanone, who responded to January 6th Capitol insurrection. It wasn't an insurrection, it was a riot. An NRA member, former gun seller Fanone, wrote after the Uvalde, Texas school massacre that an AR-style rifle is the last gun that I would recommend for self-defense. My friend, you are a fool. Some police officers are not very smart people, okay? They are not the authority on guns, all right? I'm going to tell you, a lot of police officers, there are many civilians, okay, that are more trained than these police officers. These guys on YouTube, okay, when they document some of these things, they are more trained than the average police officer and even other civilians, okay? And let me tell you, okay, let's look at a Google search, okay, of how many people have bought AR-15s. Check this out. This is according to the National Shooting Sports Foundation. It says here, okay, 24.6 million people, okay, have an AR-15 or comparable. If we go down the line, there are many other ones out here, okay, that say the same. If you look at the reload, they say 16 million, okay? What about, this says here, Business Insider, they say 19.8 million. There's other statistics and other numbers out there that we can go down the line. Some say 20 million, some say 16, some say 22, 24. Okay, I read one the other day. It says it was 33. What was it? They were talking about 33 million Americans. In my opinion, you will never know, and I believe that is the way it should be. So the government is always shaking in their boots to say, "Oh well, let's enact this law on the general public." They're not going to do nothing. No, they will push back, and that is the whole entire point of the Second Amendment. They ensure all the rest. Okay, so people are buying them. People have them. Okay, this is the point I want to make, and they've made the point here as well. Okay, but it says here, okay, they aren't practical for self-defense. Guys, an AR-15 has any rifle has 4 points of contact. It has your shoulder where you put the stock, has your cheek weld, okay, then you have 2 hands on the gun. 4 points of contact versus if you use a handgun where you only have 2. Of course, it's going to allow you to have more stable shooting. This police officer doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, okay? And let's keep going. It says here, one reader asked us to get to the bottom of this writing. Many gun owners claim to buy an assault-style rifle for self-defense. So how many documented cases are out there where someone actually defended themselves with an assault-style rifle? I don't believe in the word assault rifle. It doesn't make sense. Us in the gun world, men in the gun world, people in the gun world don't believe in this a statement. So let me tell you the reason why. And I think the NRA explicitly comes out and tells you why. And here it is. If we read this, it says here, the truth about so-called assault weapons. I will put this in the description, okay? It says here, gun control advocates, okay, adopted the term assault weapon from the military in an effort to deliberately confuse the public and advance the political cause of gun control. They have explained it to a T. They now mischaracterize a broad range of firearms used by law-abiding civilians. The AR-15 is a civilian weapon. The AR-15 is a civilian weapon. Okay, look at this. And here is the origin of assault weapon. It stems from the term assault rifle, which the U.S. military or the U.S. Army defines explicitly as a selective fire chambered for a cartridge of intermediate power, meaning that weapon has select fire. It may have single, it may have burst, it may have automatic fire. Okay, it only applies, okay, to an automatic firearm rather than a semi-automatic firearm that gun control advocates are focused on banning today. So if anybody says to you, oh, I don't believe in assault weapons, mama, we don't have them. We don't have them. We can't get an assault rifle. Only the military has them. Okay? And because of this stupid ban that we have from the NFA, the National Firearm Act, they govern automatic rifles, automatic weapons. The American public cannot get them. At least legally, we cannot. Okay? In some instances, yes, people can get them, but it's very hard to get them, folks. Trust me, I have tried. Okay? So anyway, let us move on. Okay? What does the data say? Let's check it out. First, we went to Gun Violence Archive, the only resource that aims to track all individual incidents of gun violence in America. That's not true. There are many other sources that I use that track gun, in this case, self-defense uses, okay? But they classify it as gun violence, okay? Anyway, we researched the database for entries tagged with assault weapon, which is now the ATF refers to AR style rifles and defined by GVA. Do you notice that it says that which is now the ATF refers? Okay, there was a point, folks, guys, when these AR-15s, especially the pistol brace, they were not considered rifles. Okay, they were considered pistols. Now all of a sudden they want to change it. Fuck them, okay? Because they can't do that. All right. Anyway, it says here AR style rifles is defined by GVA as AR-15, AK-47, and all variants defined by law enforcement and defensive use going back to GVA's launch in 2014. Okay, it says here, remember GVA is the Gun Violence Archive. The search returned 190 incidents. We eliminated 20 because the featured AR style rifles unarmed self-defense, meaning someone other than the victim had or used a gun. Guys, so what they have done is they've used all these dots as the incidents. If you click on this, you will get a database that shows you, and I do like the fact that they did this, okay, because they show all these incidents of that are tracked. Do I use this? I do. In some cases, I do. I come here, I refer to it. To be honest, there is a story that I have pulled from this that I'm going to cover, or I may have covered it, depending on if I've posted it or not. Okay, but even if you go to the side here, okay, they should have. Okay, they should have links here. Maybe not on this one. Okay, but from what I used to use, they usually have links. Maybe this is a little bit different. Okay, but anyway, that's that. This is there. Okay, I've showed it to you. All right. Then as we scroll down, it talks about as we combed through, we eliminated another 109 incidents because the firearm used in self-defense was not an AR style rifle. Okay, notice, folks, that these incidents are all incidents where people are using firearms to defend themselves. Don't let that fact slip by you. Okay? 174 incidents, 170 incidents, even though there are much more. Okay? They go into the tens of, even the hundreds of thousands, and even million per year. Okay? So let's not gloss behind that. Okay, they removed. Okay, so in 13 incidents, the person wielding a firearm in self-defense was either prohibited possessor or a minor. Okay, and remember, there were cases, guys, that I covered in the Kids Week where children used firearms to protect themselves, even in the case where they used rifles, AR-15s, and other firearms to protect themselves. Okay, so again, and in 5 incidents, it was unclear if the AR-style rifle was used or it belonged to. Then we have the 51 incidents over a 9.5-year span, 9 years only, guys, in which legal gun owners brandished or used AR-style rifle to defend life or property. That averages out to 5 per year. Now, I want you to look at this because I pulled out one too. Check this one out, okay? And this one has links to go with it, okay? So if you go to these links, you can go and pull the story, which I did on a couple of these, okay? And there are some that I'm going to use as content. So thank you, The Trace, for doing some research for me. But, okay, it's just knowledge to understand. Guys, these are all cases. All cases of where people use their firearm in self-defense. So The Trace knows people use their guns to protect themselves. They know it, okay? And they are making the case, whether they like it or not, okay? So here, check this out. Home invasions, arguments, domestic violence. The most common situation in which a legal gun owner defended themselves with an AR-style was a home invasion, which is true, guys. 30 of the 51 incidents involved rifles, owners confronting burglars or trespassers. In 20 of the home invasions in which a gun was used defensively, one or more suspects was wounded or killed. In 4 of those incidents, the self-defense shooter was wounded. In 1 incident, the self-defense shooter was killed. Sometimes you don't always get out clean, guys. I've said that many times on this channel. 4 of the defensive gun use incidents, commonly referred to as DGUs, defense gun use, were business robberies. In 2 of those cases, the suspect was killed by the rifle carrier. The next most common circumstance for a rifle involved DGU was an argument or fight. 6, an intimate partner or family violence. 5, okay, talking about the number of cases. Twice a rifle owner intervened in a mass shooting. The most recent incident was a 2022 anti-police brutality demonstration in Portland after someone opened fire on a crowd of protesters, killing 1 person and wounding 5 others. A rifle-wielding protester shot the gunman in the hip. This is Oregon, that state, folks. I will tell you, I couldn't believe it when I pulled it up first, but they had over 100 days of riots. 100 days. Imagine. Okay? I don't even want to go through that one. Following a 2017 shooting at a church in the Sutherland Springs, Texas, during which an Air Force veteran killed 26 people, Stephen Wilford, a former firearm instructor who lived nearby, grabbed his AR-15. This man, in my opinion, is one of the most ultimate good guys, okay? The hero of the Sutherland Springs shooting is still reckoning with what happened that day, okay? These people are always with the paywall, okay? And it says here, this is the guy who grabbed his AR-15, went to that church to help out, okay? Even in his ability, he didn't kill the man. The guy actually killed himself, okay? But this guy picked up a gun to go and help. Most people would not do that, folks. I'm telling you, okay? The ultimate good guy, okay? And what did it say? He fired. Okay, so they put it in the article. Look at this. His AR-15 from safe and fired at the shooter as he fled, hitting him twice by disabling the shooter, who then killed himself. Wilford, it says, by police, may have prevented further bloodshed, which is true. For his part, Wilford said he's glad his shots weren't the ones that killed him. This guy, guys, most people don't want to kill anybody. They don't want to. He did not fantasize about going to grab his AR-15 and I'm going to make somebody pay today. No, it's not about that. It's making sure others live. In this case, the tool of choice, the tool that the good guy used was an AR-15. Before the police got there, because the police weren't there. People don't understand. He said, we aren't designed to take the life of another person. I agree with that. We're not supposed to be in that. We're not supposed to do that. I think men are more equipped for it, but we shouldn't be doing that. Okay? It damages us. It changes us. It's true. In total, 33 suspects were killed in the rifle-involved DGUs and other 17 were wounded. This is a whole in what they were able to study. 1/3 of the rifle-involved DGUs over the past decade didn't result in injury or death. In 5 of those cases, people merely brandished a rifle. Guys, you see that? Just having it sometimes will stop the fight. Robbery or domestic violence attack. In 13 instances, people used their rifles to fire warning shots, something that I don't agree with. But sometimes it gets people the shock value, okay? Most suspects weren't armed with rifles, but did have handguns. In the vast majority of incidents, the assailant, who was also armed with a gun, most commonly a handgun. I'm so glad they have said this, okay? In 3 incidents, the aggressor was reported to be unarmed, and only 7 of the incidents were the suspects also armed with AR-style rifle. In 1 incident, a home invasion in Houston, 2019, an unarmed homeowner turned the tables on a rifle-wielding burglars, grabbing one of their guns and killing him and 2 of his accomplices. Can you believe that? This is a story that I will cover. Thank you for the free content from The Trace. Okay? Defensive gun use carries some risk. It has always carried risk, guys. Okay? You don't get out clean all the time. Stand your ground. Laws in 30 states establish the right to use lethal force if you think your life might be in danger. Okay? And it's not just you. If you think others are in danger, you have the right to also intervene on their behalf, regardless of whether that threat is equally lethal, but that's not always enough to avoid arrest. In 11 of the rifle-involved DGUs, the self-defense shooter was detained. 9 of self-defense shooters were arrested as a direct result of the DGU, while the other 2 were arrested for another reason, like the presence of drugs at the scene or involvement in an unrelated case. Of the self-defense shooters detained, 3 were briefly questioned and released. One self-defense shooter had their case presented to a grand jury, as standard in many jurisdictions where someone is killed with a gun. 2 had their charges dropped. 3 had jury trials and were acquitted. Okay, so you may go through this system, and I can think of no other famous case than what happened to Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay, and I think, oh, look at this. The most prominent acquittal in such cases was that of Kyle Rittenhouse. Exactly. Who shot 3 people, 2 of them fatally, with an AR-style 15. He had an AR-15 after a Black Lives Matter demonstration in Kenosha, Wisconsin on the 25th, 2020. This was the summer of love. This entire 2020 was an insane year. Rittenhouse, then 17, wasn't legally allowed to purchase a gun, so an 18-year-old friend bought it for him. He was charged with homicide, attempted homicide, reckless endangerment, and being a minor in possession of a dangerous weapon. He was acquitted on all but the gun charge. The judge threw it out on the eve of jury deliberations after Rittenhouse lawyers pointed to an exemption in the law that allows minors to possess long guns as long as they are over 16 inches long, which was the case. It was not modified. Because his gun possession was deemed to be legal, we kept it in our data set. So guess what? These people, whether they like it or not, they have made the case for people to be armed, and for the most part, they have made the case to have an AR-15, to have some type of rifle or some type of braced weapon. Okay? On May 31st, this is continuing with the story. A 41-year-old man in Warren, Michigan grabbed an AR-15, which was propped against the couch, and shot his live-in boyfriend, who allegedly choked him after hours of drinking and arguing. He called 911 to report the shooting. Hey, what can I say? Hey, even the LGBT community, yes, even them, we want them to be armed, okay? It says here, he called 911 to report the shooting. Police said the gun was properly registered to him, but he was arrested and charged with second-degree murder, manslaughter, and 2 gun charges. He was ultimately acquitted by a jury. Okay, I've never been in a situation where I couldn't breathe at all, the self-defense shooter testified. And this is not just him. There are many people who honestly thought they were going to die, and the only remedy to stop that was a gun. If we continue, some of those who used rifles in self-defense were arrested afterward because they weren't allowed to own guns, so they didn't include them in their final count, okay? For a few, rifles saved lives. And folks, that's all that matters. If it's just a few, it doesn't matter. Just like the left keeps saying, hey, if we can get a few guns off the street, it'll matter. So do a few lives, and this is the reason why we need to be armed. In 2019, as I continue with the article, case celebrated by gun rights activists, a woman in Lithia, Florida, who was 8 months pregnant, fired on a pair of home invaders with her husband's AR-10 rifle. Guys, the AR-10 shoots 308. Woo! She grabbed the gun from a bedroom after the burglar's pistol whipped her husband, held her 11-year-old daughter at gunpoint, and demanded money. These people are terrible people. The daughter at gunpoint? She didn't know how to use the rifle and struggled with it before squeezing off a single shot, killing one of the intruders. She didn't even know how to use it. My wife evened the playing field and kept them from killing me, the husband said. I wonder, this is worth watching. Let me see. Let's just watch this, guys. Let's see if we can watch it. Do you remember this guy? I remember him. So we can't even watch it. Jeremy King. Let's see. We can put this in YouTube and watch it. Let's see. Let's see here. Paste. I just put AR-15. AR-10, actually. Maybe I have to bring it up later. Huh? Here it is, guys. Here it is. Check this out.
This is
Gonna have always these commercials. Maybe I should get YouTube Red, right? Check this out.
Family's life during a home invasion after she uses an AR-15 to fight back against armed burglars. This happened in Lithia, that's about 25 miles outside of Tampa. Jeremy King says 2 masked men entered his home, pointed guns at him and his 11-year-old daughter, demanding money. He says the 2 men began pistol whipping and kicking him. When he says he didn't have any, his 8-month pregnant wife heard the commotion and opened the bedroom door to see what was happening. A robber shot at her, and that's when she grabbed the semi-automatic rifle and opened fire.
He came towards the back door in her line of sight. She clipped him. He made it from my back door, roughly 200 feet out in the front ditch before the AR did its thing.
Deputies found a man dead in a nearby ditch. They are still looking for the second suspect.
The AR didn't do his thing. The woman, his wife, did her thing and protected him. And this joker, come to find out, he was selling marijuana. That's probably why they came down there anyway. Nobody deserves that, okay? But that son of a bitch, he should understand what he did and what he brought to his family. Okay, part of that is his fault. Okay, anyway, let's move on and keep going. Okay, so we know that happened. All right, it says in at least 2 incidents, the person using an AR style rifle, okay, in self-defense wasn't a gun owner at all. When 4 men carrying large rifles broke into a home in Houston 2009, the homeowner, who was unarmed, grabbed one of their guns and shot them, killing 3 of them. Thank goodness. Okay, AR style rifles can be unwieldy and complicated, and they're not easily concealable. They won't be complicated if you train. They won't be unwieldy if you train. And they're not easily concealable. We don't want them to be concealed. We want this guy to see it so he gets away from us. Okay? It says here, but for some, the weapon size is an asset. As is for most people. It is a rifle. You get 4 points of contact. A man in Oswego, Illinois, who stopped a 2018 knife attack by brandishing an AR-15 said he grabbed the rifle over his handgun because it's just a bigger gun. Guys, I have heard this philosophy by many people, especially those in the military. They say your handgun is used so you can get to your rifle. I remember people telling me this. Hey, man, which one would you use? AR-15 or a handgun? Oh, I said, oh, well, just use the handgun. No. Your handgun is so you can get to your rifle. You figure that one out, okay? It says here, he grabbed the rifle over his handgun because it's just a bigger gun. I think a little bit more than an intimidation factor definitely played a part in him actually stopping. Well said. Well said. The man, a firearms instructor, added, the AR-15 is my weapon of choice for home protection. It's light, it's maneuverable. I will add and say that it's highly customizable. And if you train and know how to use it properly, it's not dangerous. It's true. For some, a rifle couldn't prevent tragedy. And guys, this is the sad state of being a self-defender. You will not always get out clean. Check this out. It says here, sometimes an AR-style rifle stopped an attack but didn't save a life. In Detroit, 2022, a man disarmed a rifle-wielding intruder and wounded his accomplice with it, then chased the other intruder and hit him with a rifle butt, but not before they killed his wife. It happens, and that's a very, very sad story. In 2017, an intruder armed with a .25 caliber handgun, okay, that's pretty old, broke into a home in Coffeyville, Kansas, and killed one of the occupants. 47-year-old Kimberly Bell, another occupant of the home, Reginald Johnson, 50, heard the commotion, grabbed the AR-15. He killed the shooter, but not before the shooter returned fire, hitting Johnson, and who died. And that happens too. Okay? On the National Gun Violence Memorial website, where gunshot victims are commemorated, Johnson was remembered as Coffeyville's big brother who always looks out for everyone. Guys, it's worth seeing this if you haven't seen this, okay? The gun memorial, this is something I will tell you, it is the saddest thing because there are so many people on this gun memorial that have died, and if we just take away this right here, okay, and you look at this site, you see all these people that died. Look at this. A baby. A baby. This 6-month-old. Guys, I have a 3-month-old right now. And I would burn the world for her. I couldn't imagine losing a child at this age. It's just, It's just unthinkable. And look at all these people that have died. Okay? Gun violence. It is real. Okay? I'm not going to say it isn't. Okay? But I'm going to tell you something. If it comes down to protecting yourself, okay? Protecting yourself, would you rather have it and not need it versus needing it and not having it? This is something that we always talk about. And it pains me to speak about this. Okay, I can keep going. Look at how many people have died, and this is just in August. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you as we close in this, imagine if you didn't have your firearm. I'm gonna tell you, the Trace has made a case for everyone to go and get a gun in this story. This lady, Jennifer Macia, she may have thought that talking about the AR-15 and people buying it is a bad thing. It is a good thing. She has made the case for everybody to go and get a rifle. She really has. Everybody should go and get one. How often are AR-style rifles used for self-defense? This article says you should go and get one. Because there are cases here, evidence here that shows people do use their firearms in self-defense. Okay, guys, that's all I have here. That's all I can say here. As a sad note, but guys, go and get a fucking gun. Okay, go and get a gun. And after you get that one, get more than one. Okay, good people have guns, and if good people do nothing, there will be no good guys.